corn go above, let's say 450, we're going to have a pretty serious drought. We still have a lot of oversupply hanging onto the market. So when we look at what's going to be the catalyst to $5, it would need to be a 2012 drought. It would need to be something that severe. But can we get a scare? Can we get below trend line yields? Does that get us to 4 1/4? It certainly can happen, and we're going to be looking for those opportunities. But the very realistic range over the next few months before pollination is probably 360, 380, maybe 385. We're going to spend a lot of time in this 20-30 cent range that we're probably smack dab in the middle of right now for corn. On beans, I'll say 8 1/4 is kind of the low end. If we see an opportunity based on some South American weather or some demand that's not necessarily priced in somewhere from China in particular, we can get back up to 9 1/4. That can happen, but that's where I would certainly be an aggressive seller, getting rid of all my old crop beans. I would not be marketing new crop beans at 9.25. I'd wait till, if we see them at 9.75 or higher, I would start to market new crop beans. When you look at prices, and I know I'm getting maybe a touch windy here, but when you look at prices, you look at them, if you look at them in longer terms, we have gone through a multi-year uptrend in grain prices from 06 to 13, 14, and then we've had a significant drop, actually a record drop. We haven't seen on-farm gross revenue drop any more than it did from 14 to 15 since 1931. That's the biggest drop since 1931 in on-farm revenue as a percentage from 14 to 15. So it has come off very, very quickly. But when we look at things like programs and the program that we have, which we're talking about now, we really feel like we've kind of carved out or are in the middle of carving out a bottom for prices. Our approach is going to be an aggressive seller of options and then looking for these blips into the 4 to 4 1/4 range to lock in the futures. And if we're able to lock in futures there and make 15 or 20 cents along the way, that's what's going to get us to some targets, which will be around 440 for next fall and next year's price. There's no silver bullets in marketing. I know I've said this to you guys before. The real key to our program and anybody's program is looking at the next year and trying to identify the range you think we're going to spend time in, kind of commit to that range, and then if you're on the upper end of it, you either lock it in futures or selling calls. If you're on the lower end of it, you can either be selling some puts or trying to re-own some of your positions. But the whole key is, do you have the range right in the first place? In our range, for looking at next year's corn crop, is around 375 to 4 1/4. If our range is right and we execute in that band of prices, we should be able to net around a 430, 440. That's not a guarantee. That's just if we're right on our estimates, okay? But that's the kind of approach we look to have in the coming year. Many of you are already in this program, so I don't know how much I need to explain of things. This is the group that prices your pool of bushels, the futures price. Again, I know a lot of you guys kind of know how this program works. It's committing a certain amount of bushels. We do the pricing of the futures. Whatever you enroll gets priced 100%. There's no knockouts or anything like that. You're drawing off the experience of our group. We can reprice the bushels up to 3 times. I'm just reading some stuff as you guys have these as your handout. We do a bi-weekly update. I think you guys, a lot of you have seen that. But our JSA Select pricing program, this is the 3rd year that we've done it here. Again, thank you for your enrollment in the bushels through URSO. We're humbled at the amount of trust you've given us to do some marketing for you all, and we're certainly going to do the best we can every year. 3 delivery periods, fall, winter, and summer. A couple of observations that I would make as we've gotten into this program a few more years. There is an advantage, at least historically, the performance of what we've done in the past. There's been an advantage to having some bushels even after harvest because it allows us to come in and re-own a lot of the harvest low levels. If you look at seasonal prices on corn, there's no secrets as to why one of the seasonal lows for a crop year is in late September, early October. That's when all the fresh new supply is coming onto the market. There's a lot of people that sell grain right over the scale because that's what they've always done. So that supply coming onto the market has a tendency to pull prices down at the very beginning of harvest. We don't have the opportunity to re-own those bushels in that time for the fall delivery period. We do for the winter and summer. So the last couple of years we've had some success in the bushels versus the March or versus the July, re-owning some of that. Whether we buy back the futures or sell puts, one or the other, the spread between our Dees price for corn and our March price for corn has been a little wider than just the carry in the marketplace. But this is our performance the last 2 years. 439 was our Dees price last fall compared to 349. We compare ourselves to the average of the October delivery month. Same for beans, 1146, 964. That was last year's fall delivered corn and beans. This year we were 415 with a 383 October average, 944 on beans, and 891 was what the October average was on beans. And the point I'm trying to make is if we look to the winter, let's focus on this 452 right here. That number compared to this last fall, which was 415, the reason that spread is more than just 10 or 15 cents, which is the carry in the market, is because we took an opportunity with those lows that were created in September to re-own most of that winter book, the winter pool of bushels. And it worked, okay? I mean, just re-owning them doesn't mean it's gonna be a better price. I mean, the price has to go back up after harvest, which it typically does. Typically, we have a post-harvest little rally as basis is coming back, and we were able to add another, 25 cents or so to that March price. That's certainly an objective that we have going into it every year, is when do we come in and buy back some of that harvest low, and how do we do it? But it's resulted in our winter program being a wider spread than just the carry in the market. We don't know what the January average is yet. I'm going to guess it's going to be around 360, 365 compared to the 452 this year. 970 on beans compared to whatever the average is for beans, which is going to be in that 860 to 870 range. So it's going to be roughly $1 compared to the market. On our summer program, right now, if you've looked at one of our biweekly updates, we are 100% priced on our beans at $9.99 and a half. $9.99 and a half. Why wouldn't I wait for 10, right? It's because I was driving down the road and I said, I think we're going to need this price if we're going to get $10, and I was off by a half a cent. So right now our bean price for July futures is $9.99, and our corn for the July corn position is 100% unpriced. All we have is equity in our account. I think that's in the 32, 33 cent range. We'll need to admit, we bought back the summer position about 20 cents before the July made its lows. We bought it back a little too early. I'm looking for some sort of a spring rally, a little bit of an acreage rally, a little bit of early harvest, early planting season type of rally to get July back up into that 410 range, which is our goal. And then we'll price that out, and we'll hopefully get the July price very similar to the March price is our goal. But right now, mark to market, it's only about 410, 415. So we still got a little work to do there for the summer program, old crop. I know that URSA has put out some cards if you have some questions to go see them. If you have any interest in doing some bushels, certainly talk with them afterwards. Any questions? I've talked for a while. Anything at all? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Could we just give Brian a quick round of applause for putting on a great presentation? Just a few quick comments. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. We appreciate your time. You don't have to give us any of your time or any of your business, but yet all of you here choose to, and we're very appreciative of that. That means a lot to us as a company, as a co-op. That's how this whole thing works. So touching base on the program again, we've got some cards out on the table. That's kind of to jog your memory, jog your mind if you're looking to sign up. If you want to sign up tonight, grab an URSA person on the way out. If you don't feel like signing up or want to wait and grab somebody on the phone later this week or next week, I will just put in the back of your head that we do have a January 29th deadline on the sign up. So if you're wondering kind of a starting point, we have a lot of conversations with guys starting around 20% or 15%, kind of where that crop insurance level stops. And for those of you wanting maybe a little bit more help than 20% of your bushels, just grab your location manager, grab Scott, grab myself, Peggy, Larry, any of us, and we'll sit down and have that conversation with you. So thank you guys, and be safe getting home tonight.